right, we're here at my house with my longtime buddy right here, Chicken, Dave Hood. How's it going, Dave?
It's going great, Vince. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming out. So let's go back and start from the beginning, man. We can sit here and tell a lot of stories, but I want to know at first, how did you get, what sparked you to get into, punk rock and playing music, and how, what was the fuse that started it all?
The fuse that started it probably came in 1980. I was living with my parents out in Orange County.
1980?
1980. I was living with my parents in Orange County.
You're like 13,
and
14?
Yeah, I was 10.
Okay, 10.
And I came across, I think it was at Boy Scouts. I was in Boy Scouts of America, and I went to one of those jamborees out there by Lion Country Safari. And all the kids had just found Agent Orange and the Rodney on the Rock album and Adolescence and Beach Boulevard, and they were all listening to, Orange County punk rock. So they turned me on to that, and then it was just, I was sold. I was sold on the music and the vibe, and I started going to record stores and trying to find, punk rock. I think one of the first albums I bought was Misfits, Evil Live, and I took it to a friend's house, and we played it, and it was just so fast. And it was supposed to be on, it was at 45, and I think we were playing it on 78 or something.
I had the Butthole Surfers record.
Yeah.
I played it at 45 and 33, and it sounded good either way, and I didn't know which.
It sounded great.
I didn't know which was what. So I guess that was two. Actually, I guess you got two albums in one. You played it on one speed, played it on the other.
Yeah.
All right.
So my friend's like, hey, I think it's supposed to be on this speed, because it was 20. And 20. This is still cool. That was one of the first albums. And then I think my second one was Dead Kennedy's Police Truck. I think I only had enough money to actually buy singles, right?
Yeah, they were good back then. They were like $3, right?
Yeah, they were super cheap, right? And I would just remember the Police Truck had a picture of a pig on the back in an LAPD uniform, and my stepdad was an LAPD detective. And he found that, and man, he whooped my butt, but it was worth it.
Did he break the record?
He did not. I don't know. I don't think I saw that record. I think he just took them. But when that beating happened, I knew I had arrived. Breaking up the system in my own house.
So that was in Orange County.
Well, I was in Orange County, and then I was about 12 and a half, 13, and my parents put me in a psychiatric hospital in Santa Ana Psych. And I met more punk rockers, which was even radder.
Yeah,
right.
And I lived there too.
And we all escaped from there. And this skinhead couple out in Anaheim said, "Yeah, if you ever get out, cruise over to our house. We'll house you." And we're like, "Okay." So we ended up AWOLing from this place and moving in with Jeff and his chick. And the next thing you know, I found Rudimentary Peni, and I found the Christian Death Only Theater of Pain album, and he had the Aggression, Don't Be Mistaken album. I mean, he had a plethora of albums. So I sat there for a couple months just soaking in all of this just, rad punk rock, and probably 13 years old. And then I moved down here to San Diego to live with my dad, and at 14, and I ran into Greg Broyhill. He lived right down the street from my dad's girlfriend's house. And
I remember, right on the corner, right?
Yeah, right around the corner. They were on Beagle, and he was on Ashford. And then it wasn't within that year that we met you at shows.
That was like 86 or 85, something like that.
It was about 85 right
now. I just got out of Diatribe at the time.
Yeah.
It was about 85, so after 85.
Yeah.
God damn, you were 14?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, me and Greg were young. Greg just looked old. He was so big.
Yeah.
And he was so big and brawny. Like, he'd wear the eye patch and the bowler. He was great because I was half his size. He just commanded respect when he.
Yeah, but you know what about Greg, man? He's a big boy and everything. Man, my brother, somebody come up and punch him. He's not a fighter.
Yeah. No, he was a pacifist.
He's a great guy, man. He's a good guy.
This is true. That was one great thing about Greg. Don't judge a book by its cover, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't.
Yeah.
So let me hear a little bit more.
Then we then fast forward to going to jail and stealing scooters from Point Loma High School and all of the weird stuff that I was doing back then. And I think I had to go live with my mom back in Orange County for a minute, and then I came back. And then I ended up moving in with you at your house over in Chula Vista. You know? And that was rad. That was like, I think I was 16, 15
God
and a half.
damn, I'm harder in the line.
15. I was renting my own place. I rented the room right across from your room at 15 and a half.
Yeah.
And, man, those were some...
That's where Coleman stayed, right?
It was what?
Coleman. He had that room before you, right? Are you talking about Ashford? I mean, not Ashford.
No.
Kim Place.
Kim Sue Place.
Yeah, dude.
Right?
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh. We'd play in the living room.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And when the sheriffs are trying to come in, we're like bolting the door.
I'll fill in a couple of the details on that. I'm not sure what show it was, but we were coming home, and I remember driving by my house, our house, and there was like, it could have been the whole crowd at the goddamn house, it seemed like.
Right.
And I go, fuck that. So I drove by and then came back. We ended up playing in the living room, and then the cops came, they're all knocking on the doors. And somebody like cut the phone line, and Rick Letts was being a little bitch. Somebody cut the phone line, I guess, or something, and they were trying to get in. They came to the door, and I go, I don't have the key for it. It was the metal gate.
Yeah, it was.
And I don't have the key, and they're like, all pissed. They opened up the fucking garage. They pulled it up, and the lady cop came through.
Yeah.
Came through the garage, opened up the door that goes into the living room. There's a fucking standing room only with a band playing.
I know. So the lady cop was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think I was up about 7 days on that one. I had been up for 7 days because this is during the time when we were at that house, and on the weekends, Rich would always want to watch wrestling.
Oh, God.
Wrestling just started.
Remember back then? That was like the big thing.
It was huge, right? The WWE just came out. I don't know what it was called back then, but
yeah.
But it was Hulk Hogan and
Roddy
Piper, and so that would be going. That would be going, and it was just we'd be watching that, playing frickin'. What was it, gin rummy or peanut? We were playing some card game for at least 3 days straight. You know, and having parties on the weekend when Rich was working at General Dynamics?
Roar. I worked at General Dynamics for a while, and he worked at Roar.
Okay, so when he was away, we would play, and that was fun. So yeah, that was good times. I remember one time, and this is Melina Melkert. She was over. She was your girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, and bam, and you hit her, hey, Vinny, and I'm like, dude, that thing just went around the corner.
Oh, when I did the...
Yeah, you were flicking pennies and you were flicking bottle caps.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, I can get around the corner. I go, I bet you I didn't even have any money, but I shouldn't have bet because I lost whatever money I did have because he did. He banked it right off of the thing around the corner into my room, hit me right in the forehead. I was like, dang it, Vinny. And Vinny would take your money. Not a problem.
Yeah,
give me that, bro. That's Doritos and a Pepsi. Right, that's 7-Eleven.
You know how many people were when I get him on here and they're gonna say, yeah, when I was a little kid, about the same age you, like Dogle, he'll go, yeah, I had long hair and everything, and you used to fucking tell me to get the fuck out of here, and you did all this and that, and blah blah. And I go, well, look where you're at now.
Yeah, yeah. You in fact did the opposite. It was since you wanted to sing, and I wanted to play drums. And I think I would just turn 15. It was 84, 85. And we're at Joe Coochman's place. And you're like, just give him a chance, Joe. And he's all, no, man. And this is right before, he didn't even really know my name. This is before I even got the name Chicken. He goes, I don't even know this kid. And you're all, he could play. And I really couldn't play. But you wanted to sing so bad. And and that's how you kept teaching me how to play. This is how you play the beat. It's super easy. Listen to raw power. Listen to wrist. You just got to do this. And so I would learn how to play that beat. And finally, I got the chance to start playing. And then Kuchin's like, oh, okay. And then, and then that one crazy night, we're all frying on acid. And and my mohawk was going in the shadow. You know, it was like we would take cigarettes and we'd start smoking them. But Greg Broyhill always had Marlboro 100s. He's like, man, if you're gonna spend the money for cigarettes, you might as well have the longest one, right? So we'd be smoking these Marlboro 100s, and they're so long, and we were frying, and I would literally be taking the cigarette and making little squirrelies right in front of my face, going, whoa, this is a trip. And while doing that, in the shadow, Coochman comes out after getting some. You know, he was always eating that seaweed and stuff from the house.
Going good for you,
right? He was coming in. He's coming in. He's like, oh my God, look at the funky chicken. And I'm like, what? He's all, chicken. That's what you look like. Look at your mohawk in the thing. He had a totally chopped up car from stolen parts and all this other stuff in the garage. Where's like 10 of us punk rockers all around it frying. There's all these lights, like, floodlights going up. So all of our images were up on the wall. And he comes out and he sees it and he's frying too, eating some food. He's like, with those eyes of his. Look at the funky chicken.
He was sleeping with his eyes open too.
And he's like, dude, that's what we're nicknaming you. We've been trying to figure out a nickname. Dave's a stupid name. We're going to name you Chicken.
Dave's a stupid
and I
name.
go, no. I go, like, call me Ace or, or something like that. I don't want Chicken. He's like, oh, no. And then Vinny Dick decided, go, never tell somebody, especially Joe, something that you don't want. Always say yeah, and then he'll lose favor in it. Now he's going to start calling you Chicken. And it's true. And it stuck. And the only reason it stuck so well is because cops did not know who Chicken was when they were asking, hey, who was over here? It was Chicken. Who stole my stuff? Chicken. Do you have a description of it? He's got a mohawk and his name's Chicken. Do you know his real name? We can't process Chicken. And no one did. So
Chicken.
I just kept going by the moniker of Chicken for so many years because I kept doing so much crime.
You're a bad boy.
It's hard being a junkie. You got to steal a lot.
Look at you now, though. You're good.
What's that?
You're good now. I mean,
I got 7 years now. 7, 8 years.
It was tough, huh? Was it tough? It was tough breaking away from that, right?
Yeah. The heroin thing was a hard thing to kick. It's such a great feeling drug, and pills. They really do take you out of yourself and make you into just the most happy, energetic person in the world. But it's giving yourself time away from what you think other people think that they need you to be. Because that's what it really is. It's just maybe, low self-esteem or whatever it is that I needed to keep doing drugs for, because I thought that everyone liked me because I was that person. But, after years of stopping the usage and realizing that, waking up sober and being my own personality is way more on point, way more
now
prevalent.
Going and more personable.
It's just all of the things that drugs tell you can't do while you're on drugs is just another part of that demon that's inside of you trying to keep you addicted to something that you don't really need, And once you get off of it and you kind of have a free breath, then you're like, oh yeah, because it is the worst thing to have to wake up strung out. It is just every junkie knows, that just trying to get that fix, itching and bending over and just the stomach pain start and all of those things to try to get, and you gotta do whatever you got to do. Back in the day it was stealing Levi's from Macy's.
You know what, Dave? Let me say something, man. I really commend you or whatever to be able to talk candidly about this.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty much the same way, man. I just wear it on your sleeve or whatever they say, and it's the real deal, And I'm sure that you've helped other people by kind of like, giving them a little, talking to or whatever, or like being, around to be able to help people to get off that, because I know that's a heavy thing to get off, man.
Yeah, it's really nice to not have to wake up and need anything. It's nice to not have to spend my money. So much money goes, not just the drugs itself, but so many things that you tell yourself that you need when you're high. Stuff that I have accumulated over the years. and now have just thrown away. I mean, I've gone through so much stuff. It took
Yeah.
me years to get rid of all of the stuff that I've accumulated because I was so high. Oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. Can you put that on COD? I'll be back next week. After a while, they're like, he's not coming back. No, but you're on a good one, and so you want to let him think that whole world. And now I let my yeses be yes and my no's be no. Can I make it to your house? Let me check my schedule. Yes. Not maybe. Not lead you on with a carrot. Not. It's always trying to think that you know what that person's thinking. We don't know what everyone else is thinking. We don't. We don't have no clue what you're thinking. No clue what you're thinking.
That's why in situations, man, you need to like to say that type of thing. Like okay, for instance, like when somebody says, you know what, I know what you feel like. I know what you're going through. Yeah, you might know a little bit of like what I'm going through, but my inside is different than yours. You have no idea what's going on inside of my head. I've seen some people have something that's a bad situation. The next day they're okay. I've seen some people in the same situation. Next day they're fucked. They're just their insides are different. The way they deal with shit is different. So that is the part of that I just kind of get older. You're a little wiser and smarter on that.
And it is. You hit it right there. You don't realize the gray hairs when they come. It is wisdom. I mean, you go through so many things. You see kids now, and you're just like, oh yeah, that was so cute. All I cared about was getting looks on Culver Drive in 1980 with my mohawk walking down in Orange County, and everyone would. They would get in a car accident. They'd never seen a mohawk before. They hadn't seen a guy with a piercing from his nose to his ear. They hadn't seen any of that stuff. And it was a certified shocker guaranteed to make you look, and that's all I cared about. Right? So I was the first one getting tattoos from Chiapas and Vicente down in Mexico. Remember we go down there? I think I got the Addicts tattoo first. And then I got the Sam Hain tattoo second. And then he turned into Danzig and ruined that for us. Is that a Danzig tattoo? No, it's a Sam Hain tattoo.
Okay, so we got that part out of the way.
We got that part out.
And that's like I said when I started this. There ain't nothing that we ain't gonna not talk about.
Right.
Unless somebody says I don't want to talk about, I might give them the benefit of that and not do it. But we let it. We're talking about everything. So after that? Where's your head at after that? And what came? I know there's music and stuff involved. So let's hear about how that happened and like maybe we're gonna have to is there a little segue in? Dance Macabre? That was before the Hood? Right?
Next up was we did Crabgrass and then we did F.O.N.O. and that was fun because we brought Ross in from OB
and I got tapes of that.
And man, we had fun. He had funny songs. Your mom's fat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, just fat so.
Yeah.
And it was so easy. A do 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 do. It was just this really like we had this bassist, Andre. He just knew how to play the bass. He commanded that bass, and he would write songs that were just really good feeling, right? And it was easy for us. And we at the end of Crabgrass, we were doing like. It was just so fast. When we did F.O.N.O, it was number one. It was rad because we did Friends of No One, and we wanted to keep in with Mad Mark Rude and his and what he put out there back. And you're the one that introduced us to that. And, like Friends of No One is a great name, and writing the songs was fun, and laying it down. There were some fast, some kind of slow, but they were our own, dude. It was like, it wasn't Crabgrass, it wasn't Joe. God bless him. But it was our own stuff. And we had our own thing going on. And that's what was so rad about Friends of No One. You got to do, Warbound was fun.
Dude, I got one version of it with Martin playing it.
Yeah.
And the beginning where the roll comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, it's like super sonic.
What are your Warbound? We're off to war, battlefield for prey. kill each other. The high
You
price
go
of your
across
pain.
the ocean
Yeah,
to another land. You're off to fight a battle for Uncle fucking Sam.
And your
life.
life. The high price you're
that
gonna pay.
War bound.
You're gonna die in
Yeah.
another war today, war bound.
Yeah, and then it goes.
So rad. And then Martinick was insane. This guy was a Sacred Right guitarist from Arizona. I remember one time we went out there, and he's like, "Dude, grab an egg, come outside." And we're like, "What?" He's like, "Grab an egg, come outside." He's like, "Okay, now crack it." And so we crack it. I think it was on a car too. He's all, I don't use this car.
Oh,
and we
right?
cracked it. We cracked an egg on the hood of the car, and it starts frying. And I'm like, because it was like 117 out there. Now, we were tweaking so hard. We didn't know anything about water. All we knew about was big gulps.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
ruined
they
our
had
bodies.
double gulps and Pepsi and
Ruined
Dr.
our
Pepper.
bodies.
That was it. We didn't drink water. So we're totally skinny, malnourished, no water. They didn't eat. I don't think they even had electrolytes out then. And if they did have Gatorade, it probably wasn't as what it is today. Right? So we're watching this egg fry on that. That was Martinick. He was great. And his little fingers could go so fast. And sometimes he'd be just the best ever. And sometimes he would be too high.
Yeah. Dude, one time we were over there and I had the little 4-track. And me and him were like just doing some stuff at night, recording. And that motherfucker smoked so many of them damn menthol cigarettes.
Oh, yeah, he did.
He smoked so many that the tar actually got into the cassette player, and well, one of the tracks, I looked at the head, it had gotten all dirty and shit from so much smoke being like right around and him playing the guitar.
You didn't smoke. Me and Greg smoked, but not that much. Martinick never. He loved free bass and cough drops. That's what we call it.
We killed it, yeah.
That's what we call it. Free. You got a free bass and cough drop.
That's right.
And he had this kind of. He's from Arizona. I didn't know they had a twang, but somehow he had a twang, right? He had a twang in his voice. He was fun. He brought our band to the height of what it could be because his hand was so fast.
He was an amazing guitar player.
He was an amazing guitar player. So our time with F.O.N.O was rad because we had Jeff Marnick, we had Ross, we had Andre, which Andre's just a stoner, and we're, and then me and you, and it was just so fun playing those songs. I was just coming into my own, you kept schooling me on how to play drums, how to get better. And you pretty much, you always gave me the confidence that I needed. That was a great thing about you, Vince. Like, maybe, I don't think I've said it enough, but thank you for always pulling me into projects and playing with me, because I wouldn't have gone as far as I'd gone without you getting me in Crabgrass, telling Joe to shut up and he's going to play, and put me on the drums, and then keeping me in with F.O.N.O, and we do it. We had a lot of good times, man, and it's all because of you.
Well, you know what? I thank you for that. I appreciate that, but you know what? I'm fucking really proud of you, man.
Thanks,
you had a lot of ups and downs and everything, but man, look at you. If you look at if you want to put San Diego music all in a whatever. You're in there, man. You're one of the top dudes. You're like the sergeant or whatever, man. You put in a lot of time, and I'm fucking proud of you.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, it's been fun. Next up would be right after F.O.N.O, I found the Inglorious Bastard heroin. I found it from a friend. OB.
Did they just come up to you and it just happened first time?
I'd been shooting meth when I was 14, 15,
Damn,
16.
I didn't know about that part because I would have.
Me and Paige.
If I would have known that part of that, I would have.
Me and Paige at around 15 and a half, 16, we found the needle, and so we were pretty much mainlining that.
That's bad,
that pineapple meth, which was insane. And so we were doing that for a while, and then I was at someone's house, and they had some heroin, and I just remember it actually being Randy Vashey's girlfriend, and which me and Randy Vashey had a long career of doing some heroin, but it started off there in 1989. And I did a cotton, and that was it. she's like, you don't want to do too much. Just trust me. You just need a little bit. And I did some, and that was it. Next thing you know, I am hanging out, living downtown on First and Ivy. I just got into Satanism. You know, I just got the pentagram and the goat's head on the wall.
Is that where Dance Macabre comes into?
No, that's right when I found them too. So I literally found heroin, I found Satan, and I found Dance Macabre all in the same month, right? And I'm out in I'm in an alley where, you know, all those punk rock parties we'd be going to out at Pico Court and Mission Beach, right?
Yeah.
They'd always have some different, you know, punk rock party. You always knew it was a punk rock party because that Lizard chick with the green hair, she'd always be out there, and Todd McPhee and, you know, all those dudes from Mission Beach. And
the fucking, what do they call not something, they have a name for most of them, not the Hood Rats or the PB Vermin.
Oh, yeah. Of course, we're in Mission Beach, but yeah, PBV was around then, and just all those old school 1302 guys, too. So, anyway, we go down there to go to a party, and the thing lets out, and we're in an alley, and Rob Macabre, and which was totally out of place, too. Rob Macabre and Mike Nivison, which is just insane, like man-of-war-looking guy, you know, with the long, he looked like the Viking Valhalla guy with the long blonde, straight hair, and just, he worked out. He looked like a blonde version of Glenn Danzig, is what he, you know, except taller and more muscly.
Danzig.
And they're like, hey, you know, and I introduce myself, and one of my friends says, oh, yeah, friggin' Chicken plays drums. And they're like, yeah, we're looking for a drummer. I'm like, oh, yeah, well, what do you guys do? He saw, we do like, you know, hard rock. I go, hard rock? I've never done that before. He's all, man, but you got a lot of tattoos, and you look cool.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
weren't you listening to, at the time, you were listening to, like, Mother Love Bone and stuff?
Oh, I was into the Bone at that time.
Yeah, that was like...
They were hard rock, just dun 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 dun.
I had one of their 45s. Did they put a 45 out? I think I have one.
They put out a couple things.
I have one of my collection. I have a 45 of theirs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm like, yeah, I signed on to it, and the next thing you know, the heroin got better. I started dating this chick, Junie, was a
Junie. She did the fanzine.
The hooker chick, yeah.
She did the fanzine.
Escort, whatever.
She did something with. She did some slam and damn ding dong with fucking Danzig or something. Didn't she do some kind of? No, Waddy.
She was Waddy's girlfriend.
Yeah.
So at that time, he had just left. He had just left to go back on tour or whatever, and she meets me.
Oh, she's in trouble now.
And then it was all over, right? And she's just, and I was just 19, and she's just like, "Oh my God, you're so young, and this is rad." And she had a Porsche, just like you have in the you know. She had a Porsche. She had a grip of money, and she just bought me everything, and it was just so rad. And she would be driving me to Dance Macabre practices, but the heroin started taking over, and the music was fun, and the guys were cool, and we'd packed Soma, and there were so many chicks, but I was falling asleep on the drums, and I think we played Soma, and they had to cart me, they had to literally pick me up off of my Gretsch and carry me into her Porsche and drive me home, and right after that, Rob's like, dude, this isn't working out, which was funny, too, because he said, later on, Rob's like, dude, we only said that to scare you. But you got pissed off and you found out Leighton and the Morlocks did drugs. And you were like, you know what? I'm going to go play with that guy because he's pro-heroin. And that was it. And you kind of, you know, what we did to try to scare you backfired on us. I go.
See, okay. That goes to the point that we were talking about earlier almost. They didn't know what's inside and how you're going to react.
You just don't know how someone's going to react. It did the exact opposite. Yeah. But we stayed friends, and I ended up being their not the next drummer, but the third drummer, Rod. I ended up being his drum tech, and I learned a lot of stuff from him because he was such a phenomenal drummer. So, you know, that was the rock and roll Dance Macabre heroin days.
That's part of your book, or part of your, you know, you're going through. So all these little things kind of happen, and sometimes I think, you know, people say, oh, things happen for a certain reason. I think sometimes the situation is just lines up the right way for like how we need a drummer. Well, I'm a drummer. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes, like me right now, I'm trying to get. I've been doing bands for how long? 40 fucking years. I'm fucking trying to get a band together. I finally got the guy from Recollected Youth. He's not with them anymore. And another guy that was in Coda, the phenomenal drummer. So I got that, but it kind of fell in my lap, But looking for it, like when I was out looking for it, I couldn't find shit.
Yeah, you've done a lot of bands. Like my brother does a lot of stuff too. He always did, and I was shooting heroin so much during the Shout Out Hoods, which we'll come to later. He was just always like, well, okay, chicken's gonna be chicken, so I'm gonna go do Cotton Fever, or I'm gonna go do Haggard, I'm gonna do that. And you did the same thing. I could do Chronic Thrill, or I could do the Poop Gibbets. I don't cuss, so
we can't say shit.
We
can't say shit.
The Poop Gibbets.
Remember, somebody said that on the radio. It was fucking homeboy from the Neighbors.
The Neighbors.
Fucking what's his name? The singer. Really cool dude, right?
Yeah.
We were doing an interview in there, and he goes, "Oh, we got the poop. Where you?
The Poop Gibbets.
He goes, "Oh, it's the Poop Gibbets."
Yeah.
Kenny's in there,
because you can't cuss on the radio. Yeah. And then what else? Dominic Kane's, God, that was fun.
I got that tape, dude. It's phenomenal.
That was fun too. You've always found a way to do your brand of Wildman, Vinny Wildman Udo. At first we're just like, what? Why is his last name Udo? And then I met your dad. I went, got it. And your dad was rad. And a cool guy. Cool place out there. You took me over there a couple times.
God,
when you gonna meet your homies' parents? Most everyone's parents of my friend Adam, he's in the hoods too.
I love Adam.
His dad loved me. Didn't like any other guy. But he loved me. And finally Adam goes, "Why do you love Dave so much? He's the one that looks the words. You can't judge a book by its cover." Because he looked me in the eyes, he gave me a firm handshake, and he didn't stop. He looked for at least 30 seconds. I looked away first, is what his dad said. And my dad always taught me that. When you're meeting someone's parents, you let them look away first. Trust me, that will go a long way, especially people who are already, well past their 50s.
Well, because it gives you, I can't think of the word. I don't know what the word. I'm stupid right now. I don't know, but there's a word for it. But that's what that is. When you show that,
Yeah, you show that kind of respect. It's that respect. Yeah. And it's nice. And I'm glad my dad taught me that, and I'm glad that his dad loved me, because Adam loved his dad and his dad was that CBS recording artist. He was a crooner, so anything that we were doing, his dad was okay with, And when we started out doing the hoods and stuff, his dad was all for it, because he was putting in so much of his energy into something that was musical, And then we ended up recording and playing out and doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you guys did a lot of shit, man.
We did. That was another fantastic time in my life,
We played. Chicken has played quite a few shows with you guys.
Quite a few.
Fun shows.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, let's do it again.
Yeah.
We're doing it again. We're doing it. Remember we played the bowling alley? The bowling alley.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
The bowling alley down there had in the little the lounge, the grotto lounge or whatever it was. The little fucking. We were in there and it was packed. We had that place packed, and the guys were like, "Fuck, man, we should have these guys back." Hey.
All right.
I'm sure if you say you want us to play, we'll gladly bring our shit and do it. We'll do it. So, a lot of shows, and that was. Shout Out Hoods have at least 10 years?
For what?
Shout Out Hoods. How long?
We did it from 1995 to 2018.
18. So it's like 23 years, right? 22 years.
Yeah.
That's a long. Okay, so did that just come to an end? And
so Dance Macabre obviously came to an end, and that's when the drugs start. That was it. Drugs started taking over. It was everything heroin from 1990 until 89 to 93.
Now, during that time, was there anybody like coming at you trying to clean your ass up?
Yes, I hooked up with this chick. and she was like, dude, you need to get sober. And she's like, put me in detox out there.
Who was okay? Not to interrupt you, but who was the girl? I think she was a stripper, and we fucking opened up the club, which is the Chill Two Club now. Remember when they and
That was the girl. That was the chick I was hanging out with. Right at the end, right before I got sober, and her name was Kat, and we were flying back and forth to Vegas because she was stripping at one of the clubs out there, and one of their sugar daddies was putting us up in a hotel room out there for the week, and so I would kind of go back and forth, and I would get Greg to send us heroin through FedEx, whatever.
Oh man, that's crazy doing that.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He was sending us heroin down there. So she was stripping. I was getting the jug. She couldn't shoot up, so I was the dude doing that. And so I kind of did that with her for a minute. And then she told me she was pregnant because I'm like, I need to get clean, right? And
Man, was it you?
and she pulled the fake thing, said she was
geez.
pregnant when she wasn't. So I had all this really horrible, long, black Satan hair, you know what I'm saying? I did the whole
Look
devil.
at JP over there, man. He getting an earful, man.
Yeah.
He getting an earful.
Yeah, I had the long nails and the long black hair.
Had the black fingernails.
And I just had the whole 9 yards, and I'm like, okay, well, I remember Sasha.
Yeah.
I cut my hair, bleached it, cut the nails, and I'm like, I gotta get a job because I'm gonna have a kid, and this and that.
Oh my God.
Right? So
You
I took it seriously.
Yeah,
I
you're
really
doing the
did.
right thing.
You don't know what the other person's thinking. So she's thinking she's gonna get me to do something. I do the exact opposite. I'm like, I'm gonna be a dad, right? That's in my head. So she's thinking I'm gonna do this and so I could keep shooting her up. I do the exact opposite of what she wants. And I go get cleaned up, cut my hair. I go over by Sasha's house. I knock on the door. She's living off a park. And she's all, who is it? I go, it's Chicken. That's not Chicken. I go, I did my hair, dude. She's all, Chicken? She's looking through the peephole. She's not opening the door.
I can see that picture right now.
Yeah. And she's all, Chicken, oh my God. So it was just funny. Like I went from one look to a entirely different thing. And she's like, what's going on? And I told her the whole thing. She's all, are you sure? She's all, chicks just do that, And Sasha Hanna was the coolest friend of ours, man. She lifelong friend, so down, especially for us guys like me and Greg who were a little blonde about certain things with chicks, like you could talk us into a couple things because you know what I'm saying. And so I get back with the chick and I'm like, listen, this and that, and she's like, make up some lie, whatever, and her ex-husband is there. Yeah, it's such a weird trail. And he takes me outside and goes, bro, I know for a fact she ain't pregnant. Don't tell her I told you. I'm just like, I've seen her do this before.
Wow.
And that was it. And that's when I was like, man, screw drugs.
You got the clarity right there.
I got the clarity. I was like, and so I got this relationship with this other chick, and she's like, let's get you into a program. And so I got into a program, and it was at that time. I don't think I liked being bamboozled. I think that was what pissed me off the most, was somebody bamboozled.
Well, I mean, with that situation, saying that's heavy shit. Saying something like that.
Yeah. So I got into this. I got into Jeannie McAllister's detox in El Cajon. No, Santee. God, it was really right over there, and stayed up for 15 days, bro. I think I was there for 16 days. I did not sleep for 15 coming down off heroin.
Jeez.
I'd never been to detox before.
What was going through your brain? Were you scared?
Huh?
Were you scared, or what was going through your brain?
It was insane.
You were like, okay, well, you came to the.
I wanted to sleep so bad, but you just can't. And any junkie knows what I'm talking about. You're rocking back and forth for the first week and a half and pooping yourself and throwing up and all that stuff, and you finally get past about a week and a half and you're like, yeah, sleep's gonna come. Sleep never came, bro. I think I slept for an hour the night before I got out of there.
It had to be you just had to be wrecked.
Oh my God.
Your
It
body
was like,
and your emotions and everything, you were just like,
yeah, the kick was gnarly. And And so I got out, ended up not staying with that chick, ended up moving in with a guy in the program. And my dad comes down from La Jolla and he's like, son, and I'm, dad, I got 90 days, right? And he's, oh, that's awesome, and it's your birthday. And I'm like, yeah, I'm living over here, over by Foggy's Notion, over off of Sports Arena. He's all, let's meet there, I'll buy you dinner, you know? And I go, okay. So we cruise down, and I'm eating. He's all, let's have a beer. Okay, you know, because I'm finally 21, and we can actually have a legal beer.
Yeah, 21.
Yeah,
Man.
we can actually have a legal beer right now. So me and my dad cheersed, and it was like, yeah, we're doing great. And I came back, and my roommate, he's like, hey, where you at? I'm just hanging out with my dad. He's all, where at? I go, Foggy's Ocean had some dinner with them. He's all, you didn't drink, did you? I go, yeah, bro. He's all, you're in the program. I go, yeah, I know, Narcotics Anonymous. He's all, no, bro, you can't drink either. I go, what? He said, no, you're not allowed to drink in the program. He's all, and he said that like this, you can kiss that 90 days goodbye. And I was like, what? That one thing that I had worked so hard for, this guy just kind of, he wasn't obviously, you know, the guy was wanted in 7 states.
You know what,
he ended
man?
up getting arrested a couple months later.
Okay, but how did he come at you with
He came at me twisted. He came at me sideways.
That's
and
not
you know,
cool.
if it would have been one of my friends, obviously wouldn't have come like that. But just that was enough for me just to tie it on for another, you know, tie it on for another, I don't know how long, until I finally got sick of it. You know, I think I went on a mini bender for 6 months, and in 1993 went back to the program, and that's where me and Mike met, and we started playing music in 93. We did that rockabilly band, and I'm living over at Todd's house with you, and we started doing the rockabilly band, and then that turned into, then I moved with Sasha over to North Park in 1993 sometime, and started the Black Flies, which turned into Shot at Hoods.
93.
Yeah, it was 93 we were doing that. 94 we were doing the Black Flies and a couple other projects. And then halfway through 94, I ended up hooking back up with Paige Lake at the Red Fox Room. Ended up getting her pregnant.
Red Fox Room.
Ended up moving in with her in Lemon Grove. Ended up having a kid and forming Shot at Hoods.
So Shout Out Hoods, when you guys started that, was, I know Mike, he's been in recovery for a long
Yeah,
time. And
we met
is he
there.
The guy that, he's the one that you met. And
We met
started
there.
that?
He was just fresh off the detox route, and he heard I played drums, and we hooked up and started playing music.
Was it like that? Huh?
It was really easy
It's
with Mike.
just-
There was some kind of bond we had.
Yeah, right.
He was like a big brother that I never had, you know. And he came from La Jolla, where my parents are from La Jolla, my grandparents and stuff, and so we kind of grew up in the same. I guess our folks grew up in the same kind of circles, and he was, you know, he was just like a guy who had so much worldly. He had done so many things and traveled all over the world surfing, and he'd owned companies, and he was just this guy that was just trying to play music. He had every single thing he could possibly want. Drug dealing in the frickin' 80s, millions of dollars, chicks, airplanes, surfing, friends with Brewer, getting his surfboard shaped, and you know, just it was insane. And so hanging out with him was just an insane different class of people that I never hung out with before. So the stories about him going and seeing Jimi Hendrix, and you know, just he'd seen so many bands. I'm like, what? And the music that he had turned me on to, like Link Ray, when we did the Rockabilly band. I think it was Matt Reese, PB Matt Reese. He got us. He kind of helped us out get this band Shiny 59 started, you know, and I think Mike got into playing some rockabilly guitar, and he started hanging out with Buzz Campbell from
Melvin.
Buzz Campbell on the harp, which back then was
I just saw that something on that and he mentioned I can't remember the name.
back then it was him, Johnny G, in their band. I forget what that band was called again, but anyway, Buzz was like, "Hey, if you show me how to play blues guitar, I'll show you how to play rockabilly guitar." And so for about 6 months, back and forth, he's going to lessons and learning how to do all these things, and it was rad. So we ended up playing the NA convention pool party, with Johnny G on bass and Gary Thayer singing. I was playing drums, and that kind of took off a little bit, and it was kind of cool. And me and him just kind of meshed, and then I brought Adam in to start playing guitar, and Adam was just.
How do you know Adam?
I've known Adam since I was, a kid.
I used to always run into him after all this, and I was living in IB, and I'd see him every once in a while, and he'd stop, and we'd talk for like 20 minutes, and
Adam's a good guy.
I always see him, man. Oh, there he is! I could tell. That's all the tattoos and shit. Good guy.
Adam came in, and he had like that PV 5150 Gallien Kruger, that sound, brought him into the band. The next thing you know, we were playing punk rock. I remember we were playing rockabilly on Memory Lane in Spring Valley.
Memory Lane, that's the perfect place.
And Mike's house in the middle of this industrial area, and he had a house right in the middle. He owned all the property. And he had a bedroom, and the second bedroom we made into a studio. We were playing rockabilly and blues and stuff there for, I think, a good 6 to 9 months. And then we started playing punk rock, and the Sheriff showed up.
Oh, yeah. Good old Sheriff.
That was it. We hit those first couple chords. And, yeah. And he's all, man, it's a misdemeanor to play music out here, but punk rock's a felony. That's what he keeps saying, right?
No punk rock profile pictures?
Yeah, it just.
You ever had those?
What's that?
Where the cops take your picture of the
all
punk
the time
rock profile?
All the time.
Up in Orange County, that happened to me.
Especially when they couldn't get my real name out of me. I didn't have ID. I just kept saying chicken, or I give a false name. Yeah, they would always take pictures because. They needed some kind of, they can't take you in and you're only here because someone got stabbed, and they're, oh yeah, well, Dave Hood knows. And one time someone gets stabbed right outside Stingers in PB, and the car, and we I think we just played the sports arena. We played like the 19 bands for $19 deal. And I think I'm trying to hook up with Paulette from The Abuse that night. Right. And she's going into Stingers, and someone just gets stabbed. Worst time for someone to get stabbed. Sorry, the guy died, but I'm trying to get in there, and I'm like going around the caution tape, and somebody says, "Oh yeah, Dave Hood probably knows, Jeremy, or the guy that got stabbed, or the guy that did the stabbing," which I did know the guy, but the cops are asking me, "Hey, are you Dave Hood?" I go, "No,
Oh, so, that's Dave Hood now, huh?
Yeah, I'm Dave Hood. And I'm like, no. And he's like, yeah, well, 3 people have pointed out and said, the guy, both guys, the guy that got stabbed and the guy that's doing the stabbing. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. And so he said, you have ID. And I did have ID at that time. And I show him and go, look, David Austin. He said, oh, okay, cool. And so right when I'm giving him the ID back, he sees the hood on my knuckles. And he's like, are you sure? And so he's all, I just need information. So anyway, make a long story short, the cop keeps me there, and the chick goes inside, and I'm like, dude, I'm trying to hook up. He's like, dude, you just got to stay here a little bit longer. The guy's coming down with the camera, and that's what it was, because he didn't have his camera in his car. He's waiting for his other roller to come down so we can take a picture of me just in case I know anything more. And I'm like, dude, can you at least let me go get some beer from the store? It's almost 2 right now. Now I had already been out there for a couple hours, and I need to get alcohol for the after party at Christian's house.
We were talking about that. Gotta get my alcohol.
Yeah, I gotta get the alcohol. And so he saw I could let you give money to someone. So I had someone go get a friggin' 30-pack. I gave someone some money, And so once all said is done, finally his guy comes. Everyone's leaving. Paulette, this would be the last time I actually ever saw her alive too. She waves bye, Dave. And I'm like, dang it. She did not go to the after party I was at. And I get the beer, and the cop's like, hey, stand over here, takes a picture of me. And he's like that. I go, bro, for all of this, can I just get the crime scene yellow tape? Police line, do not cross. I go, that's all I want. Can I please just get that? No, it was right before we played the sports arena because I ended up using that to line the stage before we played. And he's like, listen, I'm going to roll it up and I'm going to throw it in a trash can.
Don't let
Whatever happens after that, okay? And I go, okay, and he did it. And he left, and I got the crime scene yellow tape. Best 5 hours I had to spend sitting at a bar where I didn't get anything that I wanted except yellow tape.
So, now, what, you got to take a deep breath, I'm sure. And that's pretty long. There's still a little bit more left to the chapter.
This is only your part one, bro. You're gonna have to.
You'll
have to bring me back for part two.
Part 2 and 3, whatever. And you know what? This right here, to me, is I like doing this. I start remembering a bunch of stuff, and I always said it like with like Heidi passing away. I'm the guardian of the memories. You know?
Yeah.
You're the guardian of your own memories. But when you get in this thing, you get to talk back and forth. Next thing you know, you start remembering this, you start remembering that, and then I'm pretty sure it's the same with you. And I look back at it and I go, you know what? I wouldn't really change anything. Really, there's some stuff that you could change maybe, but the ride we've been on, and we're still taking that ride. Pretty satisfying.
Yeah.
And giving back. You know, I'm trying to give back to, without the people that come to the shows, or the people that put on the shows, the people that are in bands. No, there ain't no rock stars. Nobody's on a pedestal. We're all the same. We're all in this family, the punk rock family. That's what it's supposed to be, and the way I look at it, And I know we do have that. You could go with not seeing a friend, one of your real friends, and you don't see him for a long time. But you know what? You see him, and you're like that bond and that feeling is still there, and they can't take that. Nothing can take that away.
Yeah.
So these kind of conversations are like.
That's what was great about growing up in punk rock was. You just wanted what was next. You just wanted to go to that extra party. You had no problem pushing a car. You had no problem. Remember that freaking Ford Pinto I had? I had saved up. I had gotten a job at Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I was looking for a job because I was staying at Greg's house. And Patty's like, "Listen, you're gonna have to bring some money." My dad just kicked my butt. Right? My dad was in the DEA, so like he had this move. I guess I didn't know. He could put his leg up and kick you in the back and knock the wind out of you. Well, he pulled that on me one day when I was 15 at his girlfriend's house. And at first, it knocked the wind out of me. And at first, I'm like, what the heck was that? So I know a thing or two. You know what I'm saying? My dad was all drunk. I know a thing or two, son. I go, it was one of those things where you're like, that was awesome. And at the same time, screw you. Right? And I was like, bam. So I ended up pushing him or hitting him, right? Like he fell over and I just bolted. First, I was amazed that he actually had done that. When I caught my breath, I'm like, and he's being cocky. I hit him and then I didn't know where to go. I knew he saw red and he was coming after me. And I ran to Greg's house. And Patty's like, I'll put you up here. And I'm like, my dad's going to kill me. She said, I got you. This is before Patty knew the horrible side of chicken, right? I was still Dave.
Okay, well, I gotta say something right here. You remember when you had to fucking hide underneath the damn drum stage that we had at Greg's house?
Yes.
His mom would come out there and you'd be hiding underneath the damn fucking underneath the drum.
Underneath it, because I wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah, that's what.
Because I was a bad influence. Well, so I go and I stay at Greg's house, and now I'm a bad influence. I mean, one time I had a pistol and it came out, it fell out right in front of Greg and his mom. I went, oops. And she's like, Dave, right, with that Patty voice. And I'm like, oh, it's just a starter pistol. And I kind of ran out of there a bit, right? And there was so many shenanigans. So, yes, I was hiding from his mom. His mom was nice enough to let me live there. And I went, and she's like, you got to get a job. So I go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's raining. I got a beanie on.
Yeah,
and I have 3 mohawks. I got 3 mohawks at the time. And they hire me. And then I get to work, and I have the mohawks. They're like, hold on. What do you have mohawk? I go, well, the day that you guys hired me, I had a beanie on because it was raining. He's like, oh, you can't have that haircut. I go, I ain't cutting my hair. I just got the 3 mohawks. Remember that?
Yeah. Tri-hawk.
They were perfect. Perfect.
I like the leopard spots.
The leopard spots are great. But I had the 3 black mohawks. I was like, yes, this is the best, right? Oh, my gosh. So I end up, my dad comes over, and I got the mohawks, and he's like trying to get up through Patty. Come on, son, come home. And I'm like, nope. What'd you do to your hair? I go, I did whatever I want to my hair, Dad. And he's just he's just like, he kind of seems like a hurt dog, and he's kind of pissed at the same time. Patty was good. She let me stay there. We probably got into too much shenanigans. Probably passed out on the lawn in our boxers too many times from her buying us Boone's Farm, because that seems to be
what, $1.35 a bottle.
Yeah, that was the cheapest thing to drink. It was Mad Dog 2020 or Boone's Farm, and it went down so easy.
Oh yeah,
remember that? Yeah, hiding from Patty.
So that's a lot. That's a lot in there. A lot of stories, but there's still something in there. So we went and we kind of came back, and we went and then we kind of came back. But we were at the Shout Out Hoods that played for like 23 years.
23 years, I did the Hoods. I think that at that time, when we were living that really nice, cool life of trying to be punk rockers, and I had that Ford, that Pinto, and I bought from my Kentucky Fried Chicken money from Dorky Darren's dad a $300 green Ford Pinto with, I don't know, no starter or something. And we'd have to like pile in it, and we'd have to push it and put it in gear. And we were cool with that. Everyone was cool with that. You didn't care about anything.
We
tried to make it to Fairmont Hall or Jackie Robinson's YMCA or Adams Avenue or Carpenters or wherever there was a show. We're trying to do that. Or the Rose Gardens to drink Lucky Lager and hang out by the Rose. Or Presidio Park, we're ice blocking and getting a piece of ice and going down the hill and hanging out with SCSH and doing all the things that we used to do for fun back in the day when there was really nothing to do except, hang out with your punk rock friends. Those were the days. Once you get a little bit, once this guy got a little bit of fame, you just turn into a jerk, right? And it's like, hey, you know.
Oh, we're gonna remember. You want me to remember that too? You got a little bit.
I did. Hey, I'll be the first to tell you.
There you go, because you're a true man. You believe
my ex-wife said, it doesn't look good on you. She's like, everyone likes a nice, humble, meek human being. And I didn't really understand that till later. Everyone knows who you are. You don't need to pretend. You don't need to act like everyone knows who you are. You're not. You'll get more flies with honey. And I didn't realize that till years after I got a divorce, and years later, it was one of those voices in the back of my head that went, you know what, you are right. Like, I think everybody has to go through that period of their life when you think that you're bigger, that you're a big fish in a small pond, when really just, you're nobody,
That comes back to where I say, nobody's on a pedestal.
No one.
We're all
These are the gray hairs I was talking about earlier. Like, you don't really get that wisdom until you go through all that stuff and you see that stuff yourself. I gained, 350 pounds. I didn't know how it was to be a fat person. Not be able to tie your shoes. You have to live as a fat person.
Dude, I saw a picture of you like that night.
Yeah,
I hadn't seen you in a while, and I hadn't talked to you.
I put down the spoon and I picked up a fork.
And I saw that, and I was like, "Damn!"
Yep.
And then
that was the first couple years of recovery for me. I was just eating my way through.
I ate a lot of food too.
Oh man, it was a little Debbie show, bro. I was seeing whatever. There was no more heroin. There was so much food, and then it's like being an addict. You just keep doing. You want so much more of the same thing. So since it wasn't heroin,
you don't know when to stop. Food. It's the same thing almost.
Man, I'm telling you, bro.
Okay, so where are we gonna go?
You gotta have balance. You gotta have self-control. These are the two things that I've learned. You know, balance and self-control. Self-control is huge. You know, self-control in what you say when you're around other people, and how your conduct is. It needs to be above reproach. When you're a Christian Presbyterian like I am, like I have to be above reproach. Everywhere I go, people expect to see a guy who used to be a junkie and a Satanist, and they're waiting to see what I'm going to do next.
You know they're talking.
Huh?
You know some of those people are just talking smack.
Trust me. When you have to actually see life for what it is, that there's something always trying to get at you, and it's always best to be nice, always best to not say anything. It's always best to always have a kind word to say and not a gossipy bad word to say about anyone. It is.
Yeah.
Because that way, nothing can go wrong. They can't go, oh, yeah, I've heard that guy just talking total crap about you. You know, it's like, no, I don't talk crap. I don't cuss. I don't talk about people behind their back. I only try to say what is good. I try to do what is right. I try to be a good Christian. I try to do all the things that, you know, that I've learned throughout the years to do to keep my friends, to not destroy my friends, to keep the bridges, to not burn the bridges, to be here with you over, I don't know, it's been...
How long have we known each other?
We've known each other since 85, so 84, 84. So it's been 84, 94, 2004, 2014, 2024. We've known each other 41 years, bro.
Fuck.
You and Greg are my oldest friends here in San Diego.
Wow.
You know? My oldest friends. And I was born here, and I was raised here till I was 3, till my parents got a divorce. I went and lived in Orange County, hop, skip, and a jump up that way until I was 13, and then I came back and lived here, and I've been here ever since, besides going to juvenile hall and YGC and, you know, and my plethora of different, you know, 1F trails through downtown and George Bailey Detention Facility.
So we got a lot of good times in there.
Yeah.
A lot of bad times. What is, out of all those things, what is like your, what are you most proud of yourself of, one of your things that you have done, or, you know, one of your musical things, or what are maybe your kids, your marriage?
Getting married.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, finding God, that was number one, obviously. 2004, I got locked up. And I just remember a small, still voice saying, hey, are you sick and tired of being bamboozled and doing the things that you don't want to do without any control over it? I said, yes. Okay. Go hang out with those guys. Found a bunch of Christian dudes, started hanging out with them. Bam, my life changed. Boom. The glory. Then the next awesome thing that happened was meeting my wife. And then the next awesome thing that happened was being a parent to Cassandra, to my daughter.
You have two?
I've got 3 kids. 3 kids from 3 different women, and I only am allowed to see one.
That's the tough part.
But I have a relationship with that one who's also a Christian, who just went out and did a missionary trip to Guatemala. So, like, I'm a good dad, and I'm a good husband, and I'm a good friend. And those are the things. It's not punk rock anymore. I mean, I love punk rock. I love going to shows. I love meeting people. I love playing. I play in Spice Pistols and drag. I play in a band called the Strangulators. I play drums. I sing for a band called the Hood Brothers. It's Shout Out Hoods, but we changed the name to the Hood Brothers so we could keep doing the same thing years later and not have to call it Shout Out Hoods. And I still have fun, but that doesn't, none of those bands, none of that stuff. I mean, yes, it's fun. That's not who I am. Who I am is David. That's who I am. I'm a guy who's married to Jessica, and I'm a dad of Cassandra, and I go to church every week, and I play drums at church, and I'm a good human being there, and I go to Bible study, and I try to be the best human being I possibly can. If people want to get out of Satanism and get out of witchcraft, I'm your guy. You can come talk to me. I did it. And that's kind of what I do for a living now is I counsel people getting out of cults and try to get the creepy crawlies off of them.
You know what? All that you're saying, that's all it. But you know what? I'm still gonna say that punk rock helps you in one way or another, even though it has the bad connotations to some of the stuff that happened. It's still, man.
It is.
It brought
I've
you
always
where
been a
you
punk
were,
rocker.
man.
A nice punk rocker. It's fun being a punk rocker. It's great. Still dyeing my hair, sewing on stuff on my jacket, and going out and getting more shirts and from my favorite bands like Narcoleptic Youth. Love them. Went and saw them with Exploited. DI. Total Chaos. Went up to Orange County. Yeah. And it was just phenomenal. Me and my wife just went up there on a Thursday. Got to meet the singer.
I really like your wife.
Yeah, she's cool.
She liked me, huh?
Yeah.
I remember the first time you guys came
She
and saw
loves
me,
Vinny F.O.N.O.
and I was being a nut. My pants were fucking coming down, and the usual fucking shit. And yeah, I really like her. And I'm really happy for you, man.
Thanks,
that happened.
Man. And she's into punk rock as much as I am. We both like sewing stuff on our jacket, getting more patches, doing this, doing that. It's all DIY for us. Getting our place all punk rocked out. You've done a phenomenal thing with your place. It's the same as my place. Just everywhere you look, it's a part of your life. This is the way we live. It will always be the way we live because we've been doing this since day one, right? That ain't gonna change.
Yeah.
We're punkers till we die, obviously. And we've learned a lot of lessons along the road. We've lost a lot of cool people along the way.
Man,
and the few of us that are left too, we've got all these stories to keep passing on to another generation.
Right.
And the main thing that if I could say anything more than anything else, it's, and I know I talk a lot, man. I have given the gift of gab.
Well,
people are always like, dude, take a breath.
And
right?
me too, man. I'm the same fucking way, man.
The one thing I can say is literally choose your words wisely.
Right.
Think about what you say before you say it. You have no idea whose feelings you're going to hurt. You just don't know.
Yeah.
Or a friend who you don't know is going to be your best friend. The guy that you thought was the biggest jerk in the world, trust me, a year later, you'll be like this. Yeah, you just never know what's going to happen.
They're the ones that might be coming and backing you up all the time in any situation or being helpful, and you don't really know who.
Yeah, making bridges is the best. Just being that guy who can extend a hand out. Everyone's going to remember you. I try tipping the sound guy now, especially if he does a great job, and I always try tipping the sound guy. Want to know why? Because I always sound phenomenal the next time. He remembers you. Even whether it's 10 or 20 bucks. But did he make you sound great that night? Were you sounding good in the monitors? Man, I can hear myself perfectly. Here's $20.
It's part of it. And you know what? That's where the respect and everything goes with.
And it's respect.
It's all, I've spent my time doing sound as a sound
I know.
man. And I got people fucking, the guy, Bob Forrest or whatever, that was in Thelonious Monk. He's like now, he's on the show with the doctor, what's the name? With the glasses. He does a rehab show.
Oh, really?
They were playing one time at the Spirit.
No, Thelonious Monster.
Yeah, Thelonious Monster, and his girlfriend was in Mary's Danish,
Mary's Danish. I remember that too.
And they were both
Spirit
playing.
was rad.
So they were doing an acoustic thing, right? And he's gonna play acoustic guitar and sing. And I told him, dude, you need a vocal mic, and I'll put one mic on your acoustic because he didn't have anything, like a pickup or anything. He's all, no, I'm fine with one mic, and I'm like, dude, trust me, you need to have the vocal mic and the guitar mic. He said, no. So what I do, I just sit there and try to ride the mic and bring it up loud, like when he's doing I had to, and it wasn't really working. It wasn't working. He fucking ran up to the soundboard. I was working at Spirit Club. He ran up to the soundboard and he fucking started yelling at me and all this and that. He wanted to throw blows and everything. And I'm just all like, people were all looking because the soundboard was up on that little thing up there. And I'm up there and fucking, he's doing all, and his girlfriend comes up and goes, Bob, you're a fucking asshole. You're an idiot. He told you that you needed 2 mics and this and that. You shouldn't have just listened to him. And then he kind of went, and then he went, and I fucking put the second mic on there. It was right there. Sounded fine after that. and now the guy's on TV in some rehab show. That he's the man. He's the head guy of it all, and
Really?
it's like a whole change from one to the other, man.
God, Spirit Club. I was 15.
You couldn't even get. We had to say.
I couldn't even get in.
Yeah, they let you play though on stage.
They would let me play. We played as Crabgrass, and they let me play. Then we started playing with F.O.N.O, and then they would let me come in and just play. That was it. But during the off hours, you would work there, and Susie
She had the flowers.
had the flower
You remember
business
when
outside,
you came over, you were all.
and that's
remember
when I
you
got
came-
into being a florist.
Yeah, but do you remember when you came all freaking? I don't even know what the reason was, man. You wanted to throw blows with me over something, man. Me and you were gonna get.
At the Spirit?
Yeah, because something or other with Susie, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was like, and it was
Don't
something
remember.
or other, and like, there it was, man. And then, we whatever, it just.
Oh, man, don't even remember it.
But she had that little flower stand out front. That was
She
great,
put
man.
a flower stand right out in front of the Spirit and started working there. And so I had so much dead time. So, when Jerry Herrera would leave, I would go in and hang out. And they had the video game thing on the, what do you call it?
Yeah.
And I liked to play that. And Jenny would always get me
Oh, my God.
free sodas. And April worked there too. April.
Yeah, you know what, Jenny? She would give out so many drinks to people. By the end of the week, she wouldn't even get a paycheck because she gave out so many goddamn drinks.
Checks out. They would spike my thing a little bit. And I would be playing the game. And Jerry was like, Chicken's not in here, right? And I go, no, we don't let him in because he's allowed to be work on the flower stand out there, but he can't be in here. And then one day he's walking by, and the game, and I had got all the high scores, and I put Chicken as my name.
See,
right?
you see,
That's what gave it away.
You called yourself out, man.
I got me. Bernie, Jerry, okay. Hey, I know you've been in here. Your name's on the, what do you call it? I go, okay, maybe I just hang out. But I'm not drinking, Jerry was the ultimate bamboozler. He was you're the one that told me, after we're done playing, go in. It was the box office. Go in there and check inside the trash can and pull out the flyers so we can go, look, this is how people came. Give us more money. And I did. And there were a bunch of F.O.N.O flyers in there. And I don't know. I think that was the one time where we're like, check this out, Jerry, and he had to pay us what we actually. Yeah,
he's skimming. He was skimming.
I was always skimming, but we got free drinks. We got to hang out there. You got to do sound. We got to. I mean, literally, we lived at the Spirit.
You know, when I worked there, I worked 5 days a week. He paid me $100 cash, and I worked my ass off. Some of those bands, I had to move all their shit off the stage because they were sitting under the
$100
table
a
so
week?
long. $100 a week cash under the table. I worked my ass off, but you know what? I learned a lot of shit there, though.
Yeah, we were doing. He couldn't pass in the stuff we were doing anyway. So we were just flying high, having a great time.
Gee.
They did put out chips, stale chips.
Yeah,
sometimes that's
no, that was the thing at the Spirit Club. The fucking chips and salsa.
Yeah, chips and salsa. Sometimes that's all I got
me too.
for food. That was
You know
it.
what the trick is with those?
But then until Greg started working at College Junior.
Oh, jeez.
Cha-ching!
Right, like a block away, right?
A block away, and then he became the manager. Oh my God, we used to go home with so much free Carl's Jr. I mean, bags.
Okay. What about the satanic pizza?
Satanic pepperoni pizza. I remember that.
The
Remember that? I had to make pentagram pepperoni.
Pentagram and pepperoni pentagram.
Yeah. That's when he had the job at Little Caesars. I'm all, let's make a pentagram pepperoni pizza. It's never been made before.
You go in there and went to the conveyor belt thing, come out on the other end, and it was cooked.
Yeah,
Took
yeah.
like maybe a couple of go.
We would just watch it go through. Oh my God, this is technology. Oh my God. Yeah.
Food.
Greg, he was the guy he had such a great work ethic. So did you. I had no work ethic. None at all. Not until I started towing and stealing people's cars. I was like, because I was good at that already anyway. So that's when I actually made a really good money, was when I stealing people's cars legally.
I worked with somebody. I was the driver, and they would go in and do crazy shit like making a key, like in the garage that they went in, and I'm out in the car, like I'm the driver. I'm just sitting there, like the worst thing, man, sitting out in front of somebody's house. And one time, the motherfucker came out with a shotgun and shit, and the cops came.
Oh, yeah.
It was like...
I've had guns pointed at my head. Oh, yeah.
So, and with the food thing, well, we're talking about food, free food for punk rockers, that happens a lot. What about this? I was telling him earlier, the big bags of Monopoly pieces that
Okay.
Baggy would get.
We were living in Joe Kuchman's place out in Del Sol, and he had a Volkswagen bus.
That was the bass player's bus.
Oh, okay. So the bass player's
Nice
bus
one.
was outside. He wasn't around.
I lived in that thing for a
Yes,
while.
you lived in it for a while. Finally, you got to go into the garage and set up shop.
I moved up.
Yeah, he moved up. Me and Paige, we were together we were trying to like stay together all the time, right? But she had a place to live over in North Park with her aunt, and she just wanted to hang out and party and mostly do drugs. And so when she could stay, we would stay in that Volkswagen, that Volkswagen van, right? Which obviously didn't have an engine. I remember the day that everyone finally, okay, we're gonna need all you guys. We're actually putting an engine in this thing. The thing was there for so long.
We did get that thing on the road. We did
did get it on the road.
I remember one night everybody was frying, and we were somewhere at a party, and people were all walking and shit. And I remember we had there was a lighter or something. We were lighting it. It reminded me of the beginning of the Bonanza, that fucking where they burned that little thing on the TV show or whatever. But the thing got stuck or something, and I remember getting out and trying to I push started that motherfucker with like 10 people inside of it, like kicking into gear, and off we go.
Yeah.
I can't remember that guy's name, man.
Five Finger Freddy?
No.
Was it his?
No.
Eric.
Eric.
I
go.
used to see Eric when I was working down at the flower shop downtown.
There you go. Look at that. See?
Yeah.
See?
Eric was a good bass player too. We had Five Finger Freddy.
Oh no! Yeah.
Remember him?
The black dude.
The black dude played.
Oh my God! This guy.
He was the first crabgrass. He was the first crabgrass bassist. Yeah, the crabgrass went through a lot of.
Okay, here.
It seemed like it was just a bunch of people that were hanging around the neighborhood.
Here's Five Finger Freddy. He drove a motorcycle.
He did. With the bass on the
back. He
back.
had the bass. He would never put the bass in the. He wanted that damn bass on his thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if he thought he was gonna fly off.
It wasn't even in a. It wasn't even. It was just by itself wrapped around it.
Yeah, but why would you put it on your motorcycle when you put it in the van?
He didn't even have a case for it. You literally was the
And
bass
the guy,
on his back.
I got recordings somewhere. I'm gonna pull them out and get them someday. We would be playing our style of punk rock, and he's a phenomenal bass player, but it just didn't click.
Didn't click.
He's the only guy that I ever thought that, you know what, I gotta can this guy. That's the only person, one of the only people that I ever had that inkling to say, gotta can the place. Because we'd be playing a song and he'd be out in left field like
He was showboating too much.
He was doing some phenomenal shit.
Then Eric came in and set the precedence for normality. During that time, Baggy worked at McDonald's, and they had the Monopoly. It was the first time they had brought out the Monopoly
game pieces,
and you literally took the thing and you'd get it. And so Baggy would take bags
and give them to him. We go through them.
He would take bags of the Monopoly
That's
pieces.
what I was saying. How did you not know?
We had thousands upon thousands, and then he'd bring them over, and we'd sit there in Kuchman's garage, and we'd all open it, and we'd stack them from hamburger to cheeseburger to Big Mac to filet of fish to French fries to apple pie. We had all of them. We would have stacks.
We never hit any big money. Why didn't we ever get a big winner?
We never. You would think they put out a what do you call it about that years ago.
What did they fucking make?
Oh yeah. It was They put out they put out a thing years ago.
It's too bad we couldn't get all those game pieces and go say we had all these game pieces.
We wouldn't have spent that on anything anyway. What we needed was food at that time. We would do it. All our money went to drugs.
I was telling them like after a show, it was 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And we're staying up. We want to get breakfast or whatever.
Oh yeah.
We'd go to one McDonald's because they don't really let you get like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 items.
Yeah.
We'd get them there, and sometimes we try to talk them into like letting it. But then if we couldn't, we'd go down to the next one, maybe 2 blocks down, get more food there.
Yeah.
Everybody got food. You go get them.
And we're near the end. We're trading. Dude, I've got a big. I want to fish. Dude, I got a Big Mac. Do you have one? Oh my God, dude, I have a sweet tooth right now. So we're trading with each other. There's like 5 of us that are going back and forth. Well, hey, do you got these? Yeah, I got these. I got those. And dude, we did that for I don't know
how much
3 months.
So over the years, we got so much free food, and without that, if we didn't have that free food, I don't know how we would have
We
survived.
lived off of. This is when AMPM first
I was
came
gonna
out
bring
with.
that
They
to
came
the
out with the
hamburgers.
two hamburgers
For $1.
for $1.
Yeah.
And that's what we lived off. And now, our whole get down was that cup. When they came out with the double gulp, were like 69 cents to fill this thing up. You know?
And you
Yeah, and I learned like don't put any ice in that.
yeah,
Just
I don't do that to this day.
Just fill that.
If I want
fill,
ice, I get it at
Fill
home.
the 64 ounces up with Dr. Pepper because, you know, when you're twiddling hard, you need that DP to keep you going, right? We weren't even so stoked. I mean, food, yeah, it was like what we needed to eat. We didn't care about that. All we cared about were drugs. At the same amount we cared about punk rock and drugs. All the same. And then you had to eat.
Well, you know what I was thinking the other day? I was going, like my dog, always the seafood, always on their mind because
Yeah.
they can't, like, you know, they haven't yet, but go to a store, get food,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
however get it. So you got to give it to them.
Yeah.
I was sitting there thinking, it was almost, you're thinking, I want to get this and that to do, you know, your thing, you know, you do your deed with your bad stuff and shit. I won't say, you know, I'm not, you know, I call it, I had a bad doing a lot of everybody else, but I always had that thing like, well, goddamn, because I'm getting hungry. Now, how am I going to get my food? And sometimes it would just like magically somehow somebody would come over with a pizza or something, and then like,
you were so
I'm
stoked.
like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
That stuff happened a lot. Those are those moments. I mean, they happen all the time, bro. Just somebody wanted to come by because they want to do drugs. Phenomenal. But they need somewhere to get away from their parents. Phenomenal. And they're bringing food. Phenomenal. It always worked out. We were always the cool guys at the cool places and having the cool party. Now, everyone else that we knew during that time was either in college or living with their parents, and they couldn't like do all the things they wanted to do, but they could come over here and hang out, and so they always brought us stuff. Everyone knew you know, everyone felt bad for us. We were always going to chicks' houses, and they're like, "Can we feed you?"
Okay,
remember Kevin Weatherall?
yeah, but now that you said that, I was talking about it the other day, and I'll say one thing and see if you can remember what it's associated with. Okay.
Okay.
Dragon, and it's an animal. It's a dog.
Oh yeah.
Dragon. Do you remember the dog Dragon?
Yeah, freaking Mara, Vincent, and Dale
That's her name.
Vincent.
I was trying to think of her
Their
name.
parents used to feed me. They used to let me use their
We used
cars.
to go over there all the time and hang out.
I was dating Mara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want? Come on.
Huh?
You're dating your kind of thing.
Well, I was dating her and Paige at the same
Oh,
time,
I
but
see.
she was cool with it.
He revealed it, not me. But a dragon, I was going.
It was one of those relationships where I kind of was double dealing, and she was too nice of a human being for me to do that, but I was such a piece of poo at that time.
I was trying to think of her name. Her name was Mara.
Mara.
She had a sister too, right?
Dale.
Dale and
Both
Mara.
still kicking. I see him on Facebook.
Really?
So anyway, Mara, if you're listening to this, sorry. I could have been a better human being, and I wasn't. And Melvin, there's another guy too that always helped me out. Melvin was our friend. God rest his soul.
He was a trip, man. I
He
love
was-
Melvin.
yeah.
God bless his soul. He's not with us anymore.
Yeah, he's not with us anymore. It was the guy that came over with needles when we were kids.
He was
And
a
we're like-
diabetic.
We're like, what are you doing?
He was diabetic.
I'm a diabetic. We had no idea what diabetic was, but me and Greg were like, yeah, but, you know, and so he would end up bringing us needles for our stuff. So I got Greg hooked on dope, and that's why
son of a bitch.
that's why his mom probably doesn't like me so much. I was always bringing guns over,
Okay,
getting
you're
him
talking
hooked
about
on
that
dope.
shit. I'm gonna bring up another thing that happened between me and you. Greg and me and Greg are somehow we got a marshal head, nice marshal.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a marshal then, but you know that would have been the first one. Well, you know what happened? You remember? You came over with Greg, and you guys. That was it. We're taking the marshal. We're gonna go hawk it. And we're gonna go do whatever we did. So the marshal went bye bye.
Really? Where was that at?
I lived in Spring Valley at Todd's house. And I had the yellow bug that Greg sold me. And his mom was living over down somewhere. And you guys came over and fucking took that motherfucker.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Look
Bro.
at that shit. Nah, man.
Sorry, bro. Yeah, I did a lot of stupid stuff.
But you know, it's part of it.
Did a lot of stupid stuff.
There's a lot of stupid stuff.
You know one thing I did not do? You know one thing I did not do that Mr. Clean did? Was I did not go into your room and steal any of that stuff. The Ace Frehley guitar, all of that stuff, Mr. Clean did all that. And I got blamed for it.
Ace Frehley guitar.
That Dirtbag Dave's clear.
Okay, yeah.
Clear guitar that got stolen out of
Oh, that's an Armstrong guitar.
Yeah.
The Ace Frehley one is the
I don't know. I just remember it being a Kiss guitar.
Right.
I got blamed for it, and I'm like, no. The CDs I did steal from Todd to get junk when he was in Germany, hanging out with Zena LeVay and all that. I totally made my peace with that. But I did. It was the only thing that bummed me out. Like, you know, I've done so many bad things, but this is one bad thing I did not do. And I always thought there was this thing between me and Dave Quinn after that. Dirtbag Dave. I've known him just as long as I've known Melvin. Melvin and Dirtbag both lived off of Ashford, right down the street from Greg's house, and they would both walk over. Dirtbag never wore shoes. He had a Metallica shirt on and jeans, and he never wore shoes. He didn't wear shoes from 1984 until I think 2014, and then he had to start wearing shoes. But literally went 10 years.
Check this out. You bring up shoes. I just talked to Dave yesterday too.
Did you?
Cool. Yeah. But when he worked at the airport with me, I was
Yeah.
supervisor. Well, somehow we were staying at his mom's house in Escondido. We'd drive down in the morning and in the evening to go work at the airport. So we come down there one time, and I go, Dave, you gotta stand on the gate and watch the gate. You have to stand at the gate and let trucks in and out. I'm looking at it. I'm like, Dave, are your boots in the back of the truck? No, he forgot his boots. So you know what I did? Got some fucking newspaper. We fucking got newspaper wrapped around his fucking feet, spray painted them black, and that was his boots.
I remember you guys coming. That's when Marty, and remember Marty's dog? Remember the F.O.N.O dog?
Yeah.
They just put out, as you guys had that place in PV, he would put out, the dog didn't drink water. He only drank past Blue Ribbon. And so they would just fill up the thing, and the dog would be going side to side. To side. It was the most hilarious thing.
He would eat
Meatball Marty.
He would eat bottle caps and shit.
Yeah.
And one time, I wish I still had it. I got a picture of that dog with his leg up, taking a piss and fucking drinking the beer.
I bet.
At the same time.
That was F.O.N.O. That was the meatball. That was when he was drawing the.
I got those drawings.
The Meatball Mansons.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Coffee Manson.
Coffee Manson. There was a guy that worked.
He was such a great.
He worked at fucking. The guy would go drink coffee at Greg Carl Jr. And that's how we saw that guy, and that's how we gave that guy. That's Coffee Manson. And then Marty would start drawing all that shit, and they started drawing like.
So Coffee Manson was actually a guy that drank coffee at that Carl's Jr.?
Yes, sir.
I just remember coming in from being gone for a couple months, and then just coming over to your house, and I'm like, dude, your dog's walking sideways. The dog's drunk. I'm like, what? He's like, the dog's drunk. And it took me a while. I'm like, okay, whatever. Left, came back. We're taking the drums in that Volkswagen. We got to put. I think I have a 10-piece grudge.
Oh, we had the whole bunch of the
got the whole drum set in the VW, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna go practice as Dominique Haynes down at that thing, and that was right around the time you're like, dude, Dirtbag came in without shoes. We had to spray paint boots on. Oh my God. Oh, that was, dude. All of these, I couldn't tell you what year any of this stuff was.
We were telling all the years of the other stuff.
But the Dominique Haynes thing, and that was the weird spot because it wasn't Greg's house. It was
we did Dominique Haynes a lot at Todd's house in Spring Valley.
Yeah, but you guys were still living at. You were still working at the. It was the one near Petco Park where we would go practice at.
That was our warehouse.
That warehouse, right?
That was the warehouse
Yeah.
with the company name. I got tapes still of us playing in that warehouse at a big, huge party. And then
that
even
time
lived
of my
in there.
What year was that? It was such a haze for me.
What year was Carn Thrill? We were gonna JP's over here, but what year did Carn Thrill start?
Oh, gee, man, it was like
like 99.
5 years before Shikivitz, probably, right?
Yeah, and
So
Shikdivits were like, I remember, it was in the 90s, the ballpark figure
Yeah, it
there,
was-
but.
Yeah, it was like 93 or 94, I think, is when Shikivitz started. So
Because you know what? Matter of fact, it's the only time I ever thought, hey, I'm kind of being a band whore now. We were doing Dominic Change, I was playing in Chronic Thrill, and then somewhere in there I started playing in Go Van Go because something